Ding dong, Conte's gone. We are Tottenham on tour, are back once again on this channel. Ben, you ready, brother?
I'm ready.
Let's do this.
Tottenham on tour.
So, before we get into this, Ben, how are you, my brother? I hardly spoke to you today because I've got a job now.
Yeah, I think your day was probably a bit better than mine. I'm just going through the absolute piss take, which is Tottenham Hotspur at the moment. And I was about to say loving every second of it, but I most definitely am not loving every second of it. But I'm healthy, so that's the main thing.
That is the main thing. And we're going to start with something you and I use quite a bit. Just another day in paradise.
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, mate, what? I mean, obviously, I'm been out of the loop for 24 hours. Obviously, I know what's happened, but I mean, how's it been on your channel today? What's been going on, and what's the overall feeling that you've been getting today?
The overall feeling is Tottenham are a joke. We've burnt another elite manager once again. No trophies through the door. And we've got Mason and Conte's number 2, Stellini, in charge for the rest of the season, which I'm not sure how that quite has happened. But and now we're talking about either Nagelsmann or Poch, which I'd like either or. But I mean, what are we going to do for the rest of the season? Emerson Royale is now out for the rest of the season.
That's confirmed.
He's out for the majority. Ali Gold says he'll miss the most part of the rest of the season, 6 weeks. And I just don't know. I mean, this decision to let Matt Doherty go and rip up his contract is looking like more of a joke as the day goes on.
So we've gone from 4 right backs to 1.
Yeah.
Well, thank God Porro has settled in and is doing well. And like you said, you said it today. I was watching the update and I don't understand. And you asked the question to Simeon. I don't know another club that fires the manager and keeps the backroom team.
It's the first I've ever heard of it.
Seriously,
of course. When has this ever happened? How can you fire a manager and keep his backroom staff? But it kind of does make sense in terms of like keeping continuity from now to the end of the season, because the players have been drilled to play one certain way for so long now, for a year and a half. It kind of makes sense to me to keep Stellini there without like the pressure of Conte and his like over the top mentality. It does make sense, and I think it probably is our best shot of top 4. But it's just so weird to have like the backroom staff still there and Conte's gone.
You know what? You look at this. If you and me sat down, or any Spurs fan sat down at the beginning of the season and said, "Right, just write down the tale of woes that you think can possibly happen," they find a way to do it, and I don't know how. But listen, we know that Conte's gone, and obviously there's something I do want to speak about. And obviously, speaking to you earlier, you haven't seen or seen it, but. On the way home on the train, literally all I've been doing at the office today is going onto YouTube, seeing things with Conte and push download to watch on the train, download to watch on the train, download to watch on the train.
How do you have so many hours in a day? Like,
mate, there's been a few things, but I watched Expressions and you had to watch. I needed a bit of a laugh, and Expressions goes in his normal brilliant crazy self. Big up to him. And then obviously, and I'm not a big fan of Jamie Redknapp, but I have to say, in this interview, he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. And some of the things he said. So he first of all started talking about obviously the way we burn managers and how you just can't do this. And literally a manager every 2 seasons, you have to give a manager time. Obviously we don't. But then he started saying, like, from the top to the bottom, this club is not built to win. He said there's a control freak at the top. He may not have used the word control freak, but alluding to, like I said, there's a chair. This is what he did say. There's a chairman that needs to be involved in every single decision. He also said, even at my time in Liverpool, you knew they were trying to win things. They were built to win. They were always trying to improve the squad, and they were always prepared to get that elite player or whatever it may be. Whereas Tottenham try and find a star that may be a star to turn him into a star. And then the final thing that he said, which was damn, he said, even when I was at that club, there was never a sense to win, just to compete. And what do you think about those things that he said?
Sounds spot on, to be honest, but it's like, it's so hard when you've got a manager trying to instill his mentality, instill anything he can to make them a winning team. And then you've got, like, take the Amazon documentary, for example, right? You've got Daniel Levy sitting in that food room or whatever it is, the dining room, whatever.
Yep.
And he's just like looking over everyone the whole time, trying to micromanage every single little part of the whole football club. But he should be managing the manager, and the manager should be managing everything else to do with the footballing side of the club. I don't understand why he has to micromanage every single little detail of the football club. I don't know any other chairman who does that. And Redknapp is completely right in what he says. This club is not built to win. This club is built to challenge for top four. That's what it's built for. And I think Stell and Barry and people like that went to the training ground a couple of weeks ago. And what they were telling them was, like, they're training players to be Champions League ready players. They don't train players to be winners. And that shows you that the ethos of this football club is so ingrained in not winning. It's actually just so ingrained about getting Champions League football, and they've got their priorities completely wrong. Like, even from the bottom, they're training them to be Champions League football players and not winners. And that, to me, tells you how bad the whole thing is run.
Well, you got to look at it as well, because there's something. I'm so happy you mentioned the All or Nothing documentary, because not only does he micromanage at that breakfast table, but when the whole Pochettino firing, Mourinho hiring was going along, did you see the team of lawyers sitting around the breakfast table, not the boardroom, not the boardroom where you get all these deals done and everything? Let's sit over a multi-million-pound contract with the new manager, unsettle the players with everything going around. I mean, what is that?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like I said, like, everything to do with this football club is just wrong. And I think that when you're looking at specifically Antonio Conte, and we're talking about, you know, we haven't had a manager in here for a full season for what, 3-4 years now, whatever it may be. When I'm looking at Antonio Conte, he deserved the sack for what he said. He made that position untenable after that.
Correct.
So you can't put that one specifically down on Daniel Levy, in my opinion. But when this has become such a consistent theme, year on, year out, it's hard not to look at Daniel Levy, and it's hard not to point the finger at him, because the same thing keeps happening under his stewardship, and I don't think it's going to change, to be honest.
So the other example, I forgot, Jamie Redknapp caught when he was talking about the star to the city. They try and find a star to be a star. He said, "You look at it right now. Arsenal are linked with people like Declan Rice, a player that will come in. You know what you're getting. You pay the money, and he'll do." That's the kind of people that the teams around us and the filth, unfortunately, are going for now. Whereas we're trying to find the next Declan Rice. That's where he said our differences are, because they won't spend that money. Listen, you and I have openly said as well, they spend the money. They just do it horrifically, and it's quantity over quality. And this Declan Rice example is just another example of it, isn't it?
I actually think that it's true that we spend money, but it's not spent in the right places. But to kind of counteract that a little bit, I would say that since Paratici has come in, I think the quality of player, look, there have been bad signings in there as well, but I think for the most part, the quality of player has been good coming through the door. When you're looking at Cuti Romero, you're looking at Kulusevski, Bentancur, Pedro Porro, Papa Matassar looks like a good player. He's going to be a really good player in the future. I like the look of Bryan Hill. Richarlison, we all know he's a good player, but he hasn't got going at this football club yet. So I think that the quality of player of late has been good coming through this door. And if you want to compare it to Arsenal, like, I think we're a year or two behind them in terms of the project, right?
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, they were making similar signings. They were making young signings that had a big future, and all those players have come to the fore now, and now they're top of the league, right? Now they're at this stage. They push the boat out. They get a Gabby Jesus. They get a Zinchenko. They go for a Declan Rice. That's where we went wrong under Pochettino. We signed those players for the future, but once we got to that stage, we never kicked on. We never signed those players that can actually take us to the next level. What did we hear? We heard that there's no player in this world football that can improve this team. And I'm like, what? Wait, what? But right now, I think that we're signing players of a good level, but you don't get Jose Mourinho through the door. You don't get Conte through the door if you're not ready to win now. You're not ready to build from the back. You're not ready to bring in top class centre backs, and that's where we've fallen short, in my opinion.
Yes, I'll go along with that. Yeah, I agree with you with Paratici. The players have started to come better, but if we look at it again, it's been players that haven't been bought to play in that system that the manager wants, isn't it? And then you look at it as well. I don't care what anyone tells me. There is no way Antonio Conte said, "Yeah, do you know what? Forget the centre backs for another 6 months." There is no. We know that was a glaring miss. Everyone can see it. We can see it. The fans see it. People that don't support us. That's where the issue is with it, Levy, isn't it? Paratici has done better, but they bought Dan Juma. Like we know. I mean, not even speaking to Paratici, but there we go. So that was Jamie. So the next thing we're going to speak about is just literally came out whilst I was speaking to you on the bus. Haven't watched it, but Martin Jol, who people will know to me is one of the most specialist men in my entire Tottenham history, and the sole reason that I am the way I am when it comes to the board. He's come out and given an interview with TalkSport today, or this evening that they've just released, where he has been singing the praises of Nagelsmann like you wouldn't believe, and saying this guy has the potential to be the best in the world. It's imperative that we try and get him if he is our target, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. I only want one of two managers through the door. That's Nagelsmann or Pochettino. I think they're the only ones that can work under what we're trying to do, to be honest. I don't think you can't bring in another elite manager. That's not going to work. So Luis Enrique probably out the door, in my opinion. So you've got to bring a young manager with something to prove that can work with the youth. And Pochettino and Nagelsmann both tick those boxes. Obviously, Nagelsmann, particularly young, 35 years of age, which is crazy to think about. And the jobs he's done at Leipzig, the job he's done at Hoffenheim were absolutely brilliant. I felt like Bayern made a big mistake in sacking him because he wasn't even doing such a bad job. I know he wasn't top of the Bundesliga, but at 1 point behind at this stage, you're probably still massive favourites to win the league over there. And 100% record in the Champions League, and just swatted PSG aside like they were Tottenham. But look, I think Nagelsmann is number one for me. I think that he can really come in here, revitalize the club, and really push us on. And he can start a big, long project with bringing players through the academy, signing young players and getting the best out of them. And if he ends up going to Real Madrid, then go get Pochettino, in my opinion. But Nagelsmann will be my number one choice. And he was actually, I looked back at the video me and Sim made when we sacked Poch. And in that video, Sim was bang on the Jose Mourinho train. And I was like so against it. And I said, I want Nagelsmann or Ten Hag. So let's go back to that. And I'll take Nagelsmann or Poch now.
There we go. And do you know what? We were talking about, people were talking about bringing Harry back, mate. If there was, no, but I'm saying if you wanted to bring a manager back from the past and it was an older manager, could you imagine Martin Jol rocking back into town and settling some scores? I mean, the love for that man that I have, I think we're talking Pochettino level when it comes to him. My love for that man, he is just, I'd love him to be back within the club. He bleeds Tottenham, doesn't he?
He really does. And we interviewed him when we were looking for the manager. I think it was when Mason came in after Jose got sacked.
Okay.
So we interviewed him then, and just by speaking to him, you could tell his passion for the club. He's got Tottenham art all over his apartment, all over his house in Holland. In his toilet, he's actually got a framed picture of him squaring up to Arsene Wenger, which is fun, which is hilarious. But he absolutely loves Tottenham. And back then, we asked him if he can come out of retirement one more time to manage Tottenham, and he was like, "Nah, my career's over." But he definitely bleeds blue and white, and he's also a massive reason why I'm so into Tottenham, because when Martin Jol was the manager, that's when I started like really getting into it, going to away games week in, week out. The passion he had on the sidelines, the passion he took to the stands as well. I mean, every game was bang on the atmosphere, and the club has just taken a bit of a down spiral, probably since the mid stages of Pochettino. But he was the one that started that upward curve, didn't he?
He was. I mean, obviously, you've spoken about it enough, and I love it. When he goes and speaks to the referee after the Mendes goal. Can I say you're a prick? No, you can't. Can I think you're a prick? Yes. So what did he say?
Yeah. So he walks into the story was he walks into the refs.
Ben, you've got mute.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. Live
Yes.
TV people, or pre-recorded live TV people.
He walks into the referee's room after the game and he goes, "Ref, can I call you a prick?" And he goes, No, of course you can't call me a prick. And he goes, "Well, can I think that you're a prick?" And he goes, "Well, you can think what you want." So then he goes, "Well, I think you're a prick," and then walks out.
Honestly, that is one of the best stories ever when it comes to him. So Nagelsmann, hopefully, I mean, I would take him if we're to get him now and say don't start till the summer, just to get it wrapped up, signed. So forget everyone. Real, maybe everyone's going to be sniffing now. This is the carousel has started going around, hasn't it? Because of Bayern Munich. So we have got to wrap this up quickly. If we fully intend to do it, we've got to come out fighting now, haven't we?
Yeah, I think that conversations have already taken place. But if the manager doesn't want to commit until the summer, then there's nothing that we can do at the end of the day. That's the honest truth of it. And if the manager does have Real Madrid in the back of his mind, then unfortunately we're always going to come second best to a club like Real Madrid. That's just the reality of where we're at. Yep. So I can understand why waiting for the summer would be the best course of action for us and for him.
So yeah, we're now going to get up to the final topic. And there may be a Daigle rant here. There may be a Ben Daniel rant here. So you told me about this. I'd seen it. And what made me laugh is on Twitter, Tottenham Tears, at whatever time it was, said, Tottenham interested in Nagelsmann, words to that effect. 1 minute later, Spurs considering sizable season ticket price hike. Now, I'm going to let you rant first because... yeah, I mean, you're one of the incredible people that pay thousands of pounds for that season ticket. Then God knows how much traveling the length and breadth of the country and spending your life doing what you do on your incredible channel. What does this? I mean, for this to come out today, and even a thought of it, forget today. I mean, what does this just show about the club?
First of all, what you're saying about that thing about Nagelsmann comes out, then the thing about the ticket prices come out. That's actually not the actual case because actually it was all in one article, and then the aggregators just took what they wanted from the article and then put it out there. So just want to say it was from a Matt Law article, and it was all part of the same piece kind of thing. But it's disgusting. It's nothing short of disgusting from this football club if they actually follow through on it. Like, how can they justify putting up prices and not just putting up prices, but a sizable hike in prices is absolutely mental to me. The only thing I can think about like justifying it is inflation because everything is going up at the moment. I mean, interest rates, literally everything is going up. But you would think that this club would have a bit of like self-awareness or a bit of like give
humility
something back to the fans, humility, give something back to the fans. The prices were already way too high at the start of it, and now they're going to make them higher, and we're not even going to be in Champions League next season. What, we're going to be having a massive hike in prices to see Europa League football next season? It's an absolute joke. If anything, the prices should be coming down. No, never mind going up. We're already paying the biggest prices in the UK, one of the biggest prices in Europe. Like, it's an absolute joke, and I can see a lot of people turning away with that, and I really think that there needs to be, the fans need to put their foot down. The fans need to do something about this, because if this actually happens and we actually just pay the money without any questions asked, then I think we're doing something wrong as a fan base.
Yeah, I mean, so I can only start this with obviously I get a lot of heat for being how I am, talking how I am, acting how I am, protesting how I do, doing what I do. And a lot of people that watch whatever platform I'm on or my social media always go on about me, about, oh, I expect miracles on the pitch and I expect trophies and I'm a football fan. That's what I want my team to do.
Yeah.
But I've said countless of times that I don't just protest for on the pitch. I protest for the thousands of people or for people around the world that can't get here, but also for the fans that are treated like fools and are taken the piss out of by paying the highest price tickets and the highest price merchandise and the way they are manipulated. And that goes under the radar. Now, this for me, I once read something or saw something where football teams don't actually, the ticket price they get, yet they could live without it. The amount of money they make in the club shops, in the restaurants and everything on match day, the actual ticket price is small fry to them in the grand scheme of things. If you think about it, someone
make a
goes,
difference in their lives.
it makes absolutely no difference to their life. And when you're talking about a time, well, like you said, inflation and things are tough and everything's going up, there are people that can't feed their kids or pay their bills, but their one bit of joy, if you want to call it joy at the moment, is that ritual of going to Tottenham. People like yourself, your whole family that go together, that's a Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, what thing to do as a family. That's your release because you work damn hard all week, all month, all year. That is your time. That is the fans' time. And like you said, for another tale of woes, for sacking another manager, for not knowing what European football, for God knows what's going on with the club, yet this is the time you decide to raise the... I mean, I don't know what it... For me, this is... I don't know how people aren't more irate about it. Even people that are not as driven by me, by him, and my feelings towards the board. I don't know why this doesn't get such a bad reaction and people go... And like you said, Ben, I've heard loads of people say, that's it. That's it. Or other people say they're going to get it because they don't want to lose it for when they go and just put it on the exchange. They don't want to lose that seat for when they go. How can this be justified? And more to the point, how can this be allowed?
Look, they own the club. They can do what they want at the end of the day. But I think that there has been a bit of a reaction on social media about it. But also, you can't really give a proper reaction until something's actually set in stone. And if Matt Law's just coming in an article saying Spurs are considering this, then look, nothing's happened at the end of the day. And I think you've got to wait until the prices come out and see what actually the figure is on that paper. And then you can react to it, and then you can see and do something about it. But at the moment, there's nothing set in stone, right? So there's nothing you can really do or say.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. The trust will come out and do. And I've got to say fair play to the trust. Since January, they have really been non-stop. They are really trying their hardest to get through or to try and find some kind of middle ground. So fair play to the trust. Listen, I used to give them a lot of stick because I find that word supporters trust a bit misleading because to me that sounds like you're there for everything. Like anything goes wrong, you're there, as in like the director of football of you are that. But obviously you forget about the work they do for all the other things that go unrecognised. And I miss my vengeance towards vengeance. Jesus Christ, my feelings towards them were kind of misguided, and I take that back, and I appreciate everything they're doing. But here we go. This is what this football club. Oh, I can't wait for this summer, and I'm here for it. At least if I'm outside the training ground, Ben, I'll get a suntan, not frostbite.
Yeah, exactly. There's always a silver lining, Brian.
Always, mate. Always got to try and find one. But Ben, honestly, thank you so much for coming back on the channel. It is always a pleasure spending time with you, brother. Obviously, you know, everyone knows where they can find this brother of mine at the mothership, as it's called. We are Tottenham TV. What you got coming up tomorrow, Ben? Or today?
Today we got another Tottenham update coming out. But tomorrow,
today is in tomorrow. Remember, this is coming out tomorrow morning.
Oh, I see. We've got a very interesting interview coming out later with a journalist from The Athletic called Charlie Eccleshare. So
nice.
Watch out for that.
Nice. Well, on that note, it's been another interesting Cockerel Doodle Doo. I'll try and say it properly. Cockerel Doodle Doo. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, Levy out.
Come on, you Spurs.